What if I told you that by just omitting to buy a coffee today, you could be responsible for 4 new trees existing in our world? But before we really dive into that, let's talk about how I came to actually making this video. So a couple of weeks ago, I was sent a link to an unlisted video on MrBeast's channel. In this video, he explains that in celebration of him hitting 20 million subscribers on YouTube, he wants to band together every YouTube content creator that he can in order to accomplish one goal: planting 20 million trees before 2020. That's right, I said 20 million trees before 2020. The initiative is called Team Trees, and it's put together by, of course, MrBeast, as well as Mark Rober, who, by the way, has a degree in mechanical engineering, used to work for NASA, and now makes content on YouTube full-time. Might sound like someone else, you know. Well, other than the whole having a job at NASA thing, or having a job at all, actually. Anyways, so the means by which they plan to do this is through the Arbor Day Foundation, who has pledged to plant 1 tree for every $1 donated. In other words, if you were to donate $5, 5 new trees would be planted because of you. So ultimately, the goal of this is to raise $20 million, which would then result in 20 million trees being planted. The website that you can donate on is teamtrees.org. But before you do that, let's talk about why this actually matters. It's at this point in the video where I really do wish that I sounded even remotely like David Attenborough. I think it would really heighten the quality of this video. So even though I am admitting that I am fully incapable of sounding like David Attenborough, I'm gonna try anyways.
All across our planet, crucial connections are being disrupted. The stability that we and all life relies upon is being lost.
Okay, enough of that. Also, I'm gonna be switching over to footage from Minecraft because I don't really want the BBC to sue me. Please don't sue me. Now, at this point in the video, you might be wondering, is this guy really about to tell me about the severity of climate change using Minecraft? Yes. Yes, I am. Looking back to the early days of human beings when there were far less of us, it really was nature that determined our survival. But fast forward a few millennia and our planet enters a new age. The Anthropocene. I probably butchered that word, but all it means is the age of the human. It's of course during this phase that you and I all exist. And the roles have been reversed. It's now us who determine nature's survival. And unfortunately, we haven't exactly done a great job of maintaining the level of wildness on Earth. Together as a species, we have cleared a grand total of 3 trillion trees. 3 trillion. That is insane. And this fact, among a few others, has definitely led us to the imbalance between us and nature that exists today. We really don't have to go all that far back to see just how much of an impact we've had. In just the last 50 years, wildlife populations have dropped on average about 60%. Okay, so there's 10 of you in here right now, and well, I need to reduce your population by 60%. So right. Well, I guess this is all that's left of you now. All right. Now that change that was just very dramatically reenacted in front of you has been between now and when man first stepped on the moon. That is not a lot of time. I'm sorry, what's that? You still don't believe me that we as humans have made the world significantly less wild? Well, then listen to this. When I was researching some facts for this video, this was easily the most staggering thing I came across. Most of the other facts and topics that I'll be discussing today are spoken about pretty frequently, whether it be in media or schools. But this is something else. Did you know that as of today, we and the animals that we raise account for 96% of the mass of mammals and 70% of birds that exist in the world? That's insane. Only 4% of mammals by mass are wild. 4%! And I'm sure that by using by mass as the metric for the statistic, it probably skews the data a little bit to make it seem worse than it is, but regardless, those are staggering numbers. So here we have a visual representation of that statistic I just told you guys about. In this cage is the remaining 30% wild birds. Over here we have the remaining 4% wild mammals. And then if I pan back here, we can compare that to our 96% non-wild mammals and our 70% non-wild birds. Look at the difference here, especially in the mammals. That is just ridiculous. This is all the remaining wild mammals in the world compared to this, which is us as well as any of the mammals we raise. That is just appalling. So between the mass deforestation, the huge drop in wildlife numbers, and the massive imbalance between wild and captive animals, there's no question that the biodiversity on our planet has been severely impacted by our presence. But Gold, why does this all matter? I'm getting there, okay? We took a few detours, but I'm getting there. Calm down. If you think of the planet as one giant machine, with each wild space being a different component in said machine, if one of those spaces falls out of sync, out of equilibrium, the whole machine is affected. Each of those biodiverse regions needs to be healthy to keep the world running smoothly. Now, if the world isn't running smoothly, well, now it's less able to provide for our needs, less able to provide dependable weather and seasons, and most notably, less able to absorb our impact. Now, the existence of climate change is accepted as factual by most people these days. Well, other than a few outliers.
All of this with the global warming and that, and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax.
And the cause of this phenomenon is, of course, the excess of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases being trapped in our atmosphere as a byproduct of many things, but primarily the burning of fossil fuels. One of our greatest combatants here on Earth in the fight against climate change are trees. Our forests play a vital role in trying to stabilize the levels of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. Right now, the boreal forest is home to about 750 billion trees, which has made it capable of holding about 40% of the carbon on Earth. The issue here lies in that when deforestation takes place, especially via intentionally set fires, which does actually happen more than you would think, all that CO2 that has been trapped by the trees is now released in mass into the atmosphere. Climate change is already here. It's pretty hard to deny the evidence. The polar regions are warming faster than anywhere else on the planet. Glaciers are releasing ice into the ocean nearly twice as fast as they were just 10 years ago. And this has been leaving us with situations like this. Just look at the poor thing. Its home is melting. It's clearly starving to death, incapable of even getting off its back to walk around. Ugh, you hate to see it. Stop making stupid jokes. This is serious. Of course, it's not just going to be at the Earth's poles where we feel the effects of climate change. Across the globe, there'll be increased storms, droughts, floods, rising sea levels. The list goes on and on. So, to bring it back to Team Trees looks to bring back some wild to the planet, with the goal of planting 20 million trees before 2020. And as I mentioned before, for every dollar donated, 1 tree will be planted. So, by simply not purchasing a coffee one day or staying in to eat rather than going to a restaurant this week, and instead putting that money towards teamtrees.org, you'll be responsible for 4, 8, 12, who knows, maybe 30 trees being planted. Do you even know what 30 trees looks like in the wild? Well, it looks something like this, actually. So, of course, the Team Trees initiative isn't the be-all, end-all solution to climate change, but it's definitely a step in the right direction. And more than anything, with so many big names behind it, it's sure to open up a much-needed conversation about how serious this matter is, and just how much we actually care about it. So to quote the brilliant Sir David Attenborough, this time without making a fool of myself by trying to impersonate him, all across our planet, crucial connections are being disrupted. The stability that we and all life relies upon is being lost. What we do in the next 20 years will determine the future for all life on Earth. So I urge any of you that can, head to teamtrees.org, give what you can, help us breathe some life back into this planet, and hit our goal of 20 million trees by 2020. If donating isn't an option for you, at the very least, strike up a conversation with a parent, a coworker, a teacher about the matter of climate change. This is actually a cause that I personally feel very strongly towards, and will therefore be giving 100 of my own dollars to teamtrees.org, which will mean that I'll be responsible for 100 trees being planted, which is crazy to think about. All the info for Team Trees and the Arbor Day Foundation can be found on teamtrees.org. This is going to be one of the craziest things that's happened on YouTube. The amount of people that I hope follow through with making a video somewhat like this could be huge. So I urge all of you, if you see anybody else promoting Team Trees today, or in the next few days or weeks or whatever, give their video a watch, see what their perspective is, drop it a like, start a conversation in their comments. Let's just fill the whole trending page of YouTube with Team Trees videos. That is gonna be it for my end, guys. What happens next really is up to us all. I really, really do appreciate you guys watching this, especially making it this far into the video. I know that this style of content is very much different than what I typically make, but I couldn't give up the opportunity to voice my opinions on a matter that it does matter to me. So thank you all again, and until next time, stay gold.